So, what is fire? Fire is basically a chemical reaction. What kind of chemical reaction? This is an exothermic chemical reaction. Exothermic chemical reaction. Exothermic means exo means out and thermic means heat. So, a chemical reaction that releases heat. A chemical reaction that releases heat is called exothermic chemical reaction. Now, when this is an oxidation process, this exothermic reaction takes place because of an oxidation reaction, which is called combustion reaction. Combustion reaction. And this combustion reaction is if self-sustained, then it is called fire. Now let us define what is fire. Fire is basically a self-sustained combustion reaction characterized by the release of heat, smoke, light, or any combination of these. Any combination of these. So in fire, there can only be heat, there can be heat and smoke, and there can be smoke and light, or there can be heat and light but no smoke, or there can be all the three. This is called fire. So I would request you all to write it down. Fire is a self-sustained combustion reaction characterized by the release of heat, smoke, light, or any combination of these. Now, a fire requires three things. It requires three things to initiate. Initiate means start. Hence, to start a fire, three things are essential. Which are these three things? First is fuel. What is the meaning of fuel? It is anything which can burn. Anything which can burn is called fire. So fuel is anything which can burn. What are the examples? Example can be plastic. Example can be gasoline. It can be kerosene. It can be diesel. It can be LPG. It can be naphtha. At the same time, it can be wood. It can be paper. It can be cloths. So these all are examples of fuel. Now, the first thing required is fuel. So fuel, where it comes from? It comes from the multiple substances like plastic, gasoline, kerosene, wood, paper, cloth, naphthalene, LPG, natural gas, diesel, etc. Now the second component or the second essential component is oxygen. And oxygen comes from air. And air is present everywhere. So the second component is present everywhere in the environment. Okay. Now here comes the third component is heat or source of ignition. These are the three elements required for fire to start. All these three elements to understand easy, it is being represented by a triangle, which is called as fire triangle. Who developed it? This was developed by fire brigade people. Why they developed the fire triangle? For the ease of extinguishment. ease of extinguishment. So they can easily extinguish the fire. So the first arm, this arm represents fuel. The second arm represents oxygen, and the third arm represents source of ignition or heat. This is called as fire triangle. Now let us try to understand. Suppose this is a wooden log and we bring a matchstick. This is a matchstick, a burning matchstick with flame. This is wood, wooden log, and we bring the matchstick close to it. So what happens? The volatile content present inside this wooden log gets evaporated and it comes to prepare a flammable mixture with the oxygen present in air. So here comes the fuel. The oxygen is already in the environment. So fuel met with oxygen, oxygen, fuel. Now we already brought the source of ignition. So all three are here. Hence, fire will start. Now this wooden log is here. Oxygen is already in the air. But this matchstick we have extinguished or thrown away. So now there is no source of ignition. But since we already brought it here, fire started. What we will see is that fire continues to burn even when this matchstick is not available here. This means that the heat required to sustain combustion is supplied by fire itself. Can you understand this? Heat is required for the fuel and air mixture to burn. But what we are seeing here is that the matchstick is removed from the scene. Still, fire continues. This means that it needs heat. So who is giving the heat? The heat is given by this reaction. This reaction is giving heat and which is continuing this reaction. So what is happening? This is the triangle. Let's understand. Fuel, oxygen, heat. So fuel mixes with oxygen and reacts to produce heat, and this heat is supplying the excessive amount of heat is being supplied by the fire itself so that it can continue and propagate. That is why fire is called self-sustained. Self-sustained combustion. Why? The heat required to sustain the combustion is supplied by the fire itself. Fire itself is supplying the heat to sustain the combustion. Fire itself is supplying the heat to sustain the combustion. That is why it is called self-sustained combustion reaction. Self-sustained combustion reaction.